Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 651, written by Chef Fuzzy, the good boy, Sam. Hello. I have never ever told this story to anyone, but I've kept it in my mind since it happened in 1998. I just want to preface by saying I've never held a belief in ghosts, the afterlife, or anything of the sort, either past or present. Even this event is not enough to make me believe ghosts are real. However, I do not have any material explanation for the event. It was mid-August 1998. I was 22 years old and working a summer job at a gas station before heading back to school. I had started college late as I fumbled about for about a year or two after high school. Anyways, on a nice warm summer night, cars would come and go. As we had a full-service pump, I'd walk out of my little storefront for every car and pump their gas. The weather was perfect, not too hot when normally it would be blistering hot that time of year. Around the side of the building were the entrances to the bathrooms. I headed that way to use the restroom when I saw two hippie-looking teens with a dog, a boy and a girl. I grew up listening to bands like The Grateful Dead and Fish, still do. And while I don't present as a hippie, I feel very comfortable in those circles. I could tell these kids had probably been hitchhiking. They didn't look destitute, but they were dirty and probably a bit hungry. Even though I was probably no more than 5 years older than them, I felt bad and wanted to help. I put a few bucks in the vending machine, bought them some snacks and drinks, and gave the dog a bowl of water. They were very thankful, and the doggy was very friendly. We chatted for a minute, then the boy said, "The dog is not ours. He was just hanging out here. He was friendly, so we just started playing and patting him." That was strange, of course, but not too crazy, right? Dogs get lost all the time. He was friendly and didn't look too mistreated, so I just assumed he had gotten lost. Oh, and he had a collar and tag. Cool, I can find his owner. Oh, and his name, Sam. Important to note that he would respond to me calling his name as Sam. A car pulled up to the full-service pump, so I ran out and did my thing. Last I looked, the hippies and Sam were still hanging out at this time, sort of off to the side of the store, near where I first saw them. I finished up with the car and turned around to head back to the storefront. No hippies anywhere in sight. Nowhere, just gone. Perhaps they hitched a ride while I was turned around, but it was only a minute. When I walked out to the street, I could see quite a ways in both directions. They were nowhere to be seen anywhere. This is the last I saw of the two hippie kids. I hope they're okay. Sam, though, was still there, but it was getting late. I wanted to help. I decided to call the local police, who gave me the phone number of the animal shelter. I called over there, and the way that it was handled seemed very odd at the time, and still does, but I wanted to help, so I went along with it. Sam was a good boy after all. The person I spoke with at Animal Control looked up Sam's info based on the dog tag number. This person, instead of saying, "Hold on, we will send out an officer or even just call the owner," instead, they gave me Sam's owner's phone number and told me to call them. I called the number and an older man politely answered the phone. I explained I had Sam. I gave him water and he's just hanging out with me here, but the gas station is closing soon, so it would be best for you to come pick up Sam. He seemed perplexed and asked me to describe Sam to him. I did. Sam looked like a mutt lab mix, darkish brown coat, a medium large sized dog, very friendly disposition, just a regular old good boy. What the man said next has been rattling around my brain for the last 24 years. The man said, "We had a dog named Sam, but he passed away a good 10 years ago." I was dumbfounded and all I could do was describe Sam again, to which the man said, "Yeah, that sounds like Sam, but no way it could be. It just can't be." He was polite and we talked back and forth a bit more, but with no resolution, we hung up. I was unsure what to do next. But I quickly realized that there was nothing for me to do. Just like the hippie kids, Sam too was nowhere to be seen. He had just vanished from inside the store. I would give anything to have this make sense, to be able to actually resolve this in a way that makes sense. I've never been able to. I have lots and lots of theories, but I have no resolution. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Case file number 652, written by Rory. A truly astronomical coincidence. I heard about this glitch in the Matrix subreddit through a podcast and thought it was the right place to share my story and hopefully get some good insight and opinions from people who may have experienced or know of something similar. In 2012, when I was 16 years old, me and my 6 friends went to Thorpe Park, theme park here in the UK. The new ride, The Swarm, had just opened, so of course we were going straight there. We queued for about 45 minutes before being sent to the stands. I have no idea what these are called, the things you stand between waiting for the next carriage to arrive. On the second row of about 12 rows, the carriage ahead had just been loaded and a very large black dude, probably at least 6'7", was placed in his seat. As the ride was about to go, an attendant came over and told this guy he was too big to ride and had to go wait outside for his party to finish the ride. Now this guy was absolutely huge, a big afro and basically incredibly memorable. Anyway, after we had been on the ride, I again remember seeing him outside with his friends. They were loudly taking the piss out of him for not being allowed on, basically. Fast forward about 14 months and we went to Thorpe Park again. I believe it was more or less the same group of friends I went with before, maybe give or take 1 or 2 people. Again, we of course went on Swarm. We waited around 45 minutes again, and we were sent to the same stands again, second from the front, with my 3 friends who came on the road last time. As the ride was about to leave, an attendant came over and told a certain gentleman he was too big to ride. As I looked over, it was the exact same person as before. I know for an absolute fact this 6'7" humongous man was the same person. I remembered him distinctly, everything was the same. The way he climbed out of the chair, walked off and went outside. The only thing I don't remember is whether or not it was the same attendant, as I was honestly so flabbergasted by what I was seeing. I turned to my friends and said, "What the hell? That's the same guy from last time in the exact situation as last time." Nobody paid much attention to me, but sort of acknowledged it. Maybe nobody remembered the time before like I did. I kept going on for a good few minutes, but nobody seemed to listen or care. By the time we got off the ride, this time he wasn't waiting with his friends, the only notable difference. One of the things that I always found odd about this is the fact I never remembered seeing this guy in line both of the times I went. 45 minutes wait each time, and I never once noticed this guy standing, where he would have been, like 30 people ahead of me. And trust me, with the huge afro and 6'7", he would have been easily noticed, unmistakably. Since then, I have mentioned it maybe twice to my friends who were there and they all look at me like I was crazy or I vaguely remember something, probably just wanting me to stop talking. I understand this may not be an exciting story for some. I'm just hoping somebody could have experienced something similar. My own assessment is that it was really just the biggest coincidence, and it just so happened to myself and this guy ended up going in the exact same theme park on the same days twice in a row, on the same ride at the exact same time in the exact same situation as 14 months previous. But that is near impossible, right? Case notes, file number 652. So you are correct that this could just be a coincidence. However, this would not be my instinct. Whenever there are crazy coincidences like this, well, it's not that I don't believe in coincidences like the saying goes. I would just say that if something happens multiple times that seems impossibly connected, then there's a good chance it is. I think there's a good chance that for whatever reason, the developers of this server, or maybe some other force, whatever you want to call it, wanted you two to interact, and this was just a way to force a meeting. Now, I don't know what would happen if you did talk to him, but if you ever see this person again, I say, go say hi. Who knows why, but I think it's important.